Greetings, my name is Michael Miller, and this is a Michael Miller trademark training video on YouTube Live. Thank you for watching. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, Core New Core, anyone interested in surviving as a Pilates instructor, or using core new tension in some other movement capacity. So I have five, count them, five today. And number one is two instructions, if you will. One is look out, and the other is duck. And look out means look out there, sense out there, to see what's out there, right? And so, to me, that's an instruction to look beyond your thinking, beyond whatever is happening with you within your environment, and see beyond your environment. Look out beyond where you are to see what's coming. As in the news today, yesterday, where a big bus full of people went under too low a bridge, and one person yelled out, duck, and the whole top of that bridge was taken off, or the bus was taken off, but nobody died, right? So that really harkens to me, survival, and how Pilates is survival training, and how as a Pilates instructor, the quality of your instructions play into how well survival plays out. Okay? Number two. So, there's all kinds of fascinating things on social media recently for me in terms of reflections about Pilates and the 10,000 views of Pilates. And in one advertisement for a workshop, I read a person saying that they're falling in love with Pilates all over again. So, I'm falling in love with Pilates all over again. And my heart goes out to that. And yet I would say that for me, what I would say is I never stopped. Like the whole falling in love thing has never stopped. And so why would I think what is a common refrain you hear from people that have been in Pilates for a while, the desire for the good old days or a return to the good old days where you're falling in love with Pilates for the first time or all over again. Or continued falling all along. What makes the difference? And for me, I would have to say that why it's been consistent for me is that I find the complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit as a state of being in the body in the moment of the doing, and that's very calming for me and very connected and makes me very present and able to deal with whatever else comes next. The whole stated purpose by Joe of what doing Pilates is all about. If Pilates only exists within your mind, and your body, I think it's easy to have your interest come and go and come and go and come and go, depending upon what new aspect your mind finds interesting enough to feel like they're falling in love all over again. For me, the being in love with Pilates always has been that recognition and acknowledgement that the human being has the capacity of body, mind, and spirit. And spirit in Michael Miller Pilates, in my point of view, spirit is the observer that is talked about in physics and also considered to be the listener, right? So there's thinking and there's listening. And the bulk of the world exists within the activity of their mind, and a Pilates instructor that's interested in this point of view will entertain the notion, just to get the effect of the experience, that the human being, the student, has to not only be there in body and in mind, but fully concentrate on the purpose of the exercise. Those are Joe's words. And so whatever that fully concentrate on the purpose of the exercise means to you, what it means to me is that you have to be present. You have to be in observation of what's going on. And you have to be listening to the sensation that's coming off of the effort. You have to be connected to sensation. And of course, in being connected to it and listening to it and observing it, the whole connected to the sensation is necessary to feed into the effort to do the exercise and have a feeling of doing it correctly and as in depth and as ideally as you can. And so as an instructor, when you point out the ideal that you're reaching for, and maybe it doesn't even have to be an ideal for you, but if you at least clearly point out the purpose of the exercise, so that my mind as the student can understand that purpose and embrace it and reach for it to accomplish the exercise, right? To me, that's the essence of the work and the experience, and the method is to find that complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit. But not someday, and not in your mind, but as an experience in the moment of the doing that lends itself to resonance, meaning you sort of stay in that vibe of presence, even though you're not. See, that's what's great about Pilates. It's not the variety that you're after, it's the pursuit of ideal, because it's so focusing. And for me, and you can get lost in it. And in the getting lost, it's the washed chalkboard, to use an old image, not dusty anymore, clean, and ready for whatever new that's coming. So just as recently, I had to mention that Pilates is more than ideal injury rehab, injury recovery. It's not its primary purpose. Pilates is a conditioning method. It's something you do in anticipation of whatever comes up that you'll need the ability to meet it with. And I don't mean to sound vague or abstract, just in general, right? You pursue the idea within Joe's choreography because it lends itself to being in developing control in the doing of it, and the control of it lingers on after your focus turns to other things, right? It's like striking a tuning fork. It's like focusing a lens that's always getting jostled, and it's difficult to keep in focus. For me, it's not always falling in love with Pilates because it's an overwhelming sensation that gives you a sensation of falling. Number three. So, in this other workshop I saw, it was so appealing to take classical Pilates work to the pool and get a certificate that you're qualified under this trademarked training program to carry what you know about Pilates to the pool and the beach and wherever else. And I thought that was well done and well expressed, and made me curious about what the program is like and how that gives a student a way of learning and an extension of what they already know in a way that gives them a certificate that can help them distinguish themselves and increase the spectrum of revenue income based on where you're accomplishing what you're doing. You're not just in a Pilates studio teaching there, but you could be at a resort or at a beach and be, I don't know the program, I haven't done it, but the fact that you can go and get a certificate and use that certificate to help you make more money and expand your options and opportunities. Something like being a Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliate. So yes, this is an ad, if you will, or you want to jump to that conclusion, but I'm trying to sell you everything that goes with it. And I bring it up because I admired the class in the pool, how well the ad was written, and I'm all over anything in a pool kind of thing. But you have to have someone interested in the certificate, and to me it just amazes me that when I teach about what MMP has to say, it doesn't have more of a following, but it's not up to me to determine that. It's up to me to just broadcast as best I can while I can, hoping that I get a chance to come back and improve on what I'm doing now. So one of my best ways to help you make money is for you to order some stickers from me. They come in these really nifty plastic, see the carrying case? And unfortunately they come hooked up to be shown sideways, right? And even if you hand this to somebody without that covering, they immediately want to look at it lengthwise. I'm talking against my own sale. But the fact that they're in this container keeps them like brand new, and then I open a few to have in a case to give out directly from the case without being wrapped in this. But this is Cornu, and then if you were me, you'd be trying to get a stamp made that on the back you could stamp the name of your establishment and your web page kind of thing, right? But it's much cheaper and much simpler and more direct. I just love handing out my trademark because it points to core nutention. And core nutention is a gift you can share with someone in a few seconds in terms of that it's a feeling and how you get it. And the visual is a reminder about how that works. So if you fall in love with Pilates or you fall in love with MMP and you want a way to make money off of MMP or just to promote it, see, I would sell them. I would sell them. If it wasn't my trademark and my right to just give away, I would buy them from me, which is legal, and then sell them to others. Because you can buy them for a lot cheaper than what you can sell them for, depending upon how valuable you think they are. So that's my best way to help you make money right now. I mean, long-term, be an affiliate so that you have a relationship with the brand. And if not that, then at the other end of the spectrum is order some stickers so that you can say whatever you want, but just have the ability to hand out stickers of this image. It's fun. And the only thing better than that, really, I'm on a selling jag now. The only thing better than that is to sell magnets. Magnets. Because stickers usually end up in one place, and the magnet usually ends up in one place. The sticker ends up in one place because that's wherever you end up sticking it, but the magnet usually ends up on the refrigerator. And then wherever you move to, if it's your magnet, that usually makes the move with you. All right, number four. Number four is an interesting title. The title is Don't Let Biology Distract You from the Abstraction. So don't let the subject of biology or everything there is to know about biology distract you from the abstraction and to me the abstraction first and foremost is core nutention, because that's a biodynamic means of engaging your body, and then you can take that into the abstraction, a much bigger abstraction, and Joe's abstraction of a method, Joe's method, and the abstraction of it as an ideal. So when I say that the biology seeks to accomplish the physics, see, it's not like they can't go hand in hand. pelvic floor workshop that I'm really interested in going to. Titled Beyond the Kegel. Now see, to me, what is the Kegel? Well, the Kegel is the interior point of origin, part of the point of origin, of what it takes to make a grip at the hip. Beginning with an in-depth understanding of the anatomy and function of the pelvic floor. So the anatomy and function of the pelvic floor is biology, right? And there's nothing wrong with biology, and I think the better you understand the biology and the physics in which it happens, it empowers you to be a more effective instructor. Okay? And you'll learn exercises and movement that aid in the balance of strength and flexibility and create the adaptability necessary for optimal function of the pelvic floor. So it's a pelvic floor oriented subject, workshop. And yet floor is like the bottom. And has such issues of gender that it so easily dissolves into gender specific, where for me personally, I look at Pilates in an androgynous body, because whatever the human body's gender, it's still trying to accomplish the same physics to achieve the mobility or stability that it's after. In reading the description of the workshop, it reminded me of probably the major way that Pilates culture approaches Pilates, through looking at the biology and what's happening with the biology, with little to no consideration for the physics in which that biology is happening. And that the biology has its configuration and capability in order to accomplish the movement that it wants in physics, and that coordinated tension is an integral part of how the body moves through space. So, MMP and CT, Michael Miller Pilates and coordinated tension, MMP takes Pilates somewhere new. That's going to be on a graphic of mine. MMP takes Pilates someplace new. And in that newness is neoclassical, because it's the original work of Joe. It's the classical work of Joe. The original work of Joe, his pictures, his words, his film. And from that, the newness is the ideal that one seeks to interpret out of that original work, the truly classical work. Classic not defined as somebody that knew Joe and then started a lineage, but classic is defined as work that Joe created himself. The book that he wrote primarily, and then all of the other pictures and film that substantiate the message that's in the book. And you know, in terms of MMP and building your confidence in what that means, MMP is based on 3 things right out of Joe's book. What are they? His definition, right? Contrology is complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit. In the very next paragraph, his promise. Contrology develops the body uniformly, ... There's more words to that sentence, but that's as much of the sentence as I need to take the focus on the uniform development, because that's the promise. And then the third thing that the MMP ideal is based on is the sequence. That's all Joe, see? It's all Joe. MMP just takes Joe's work and allows you to see it in an ideal way. And then in seeing it as in the ideal way, it frees you to do then whatever you want and know that you're either harmonizing with that ideal or not, or to some extent, right? That's what makes Pilates. To me, it's all of Pilates, but because Pilates is the 10,000 different views of Pilates, MMP, what makes MMP what it is that it takes its legitimacy from and authenticity directly from Joe. So, I asked you, what 3 things is MMP based on? Joe's definition, Joe's promise, and Joe's sequence. And that you can look at, you can look at Pilates a lot of different ways. This is just one way. But in the pursuit of an ideal movement, and with trying to be totally concentrated on the purpose of the exercise as you're doing it, I don't know about you, but I regularly experience a state of being in my body in the moment of the doing that takes this complete coordination of the 3 capacities that a human has: body, mind, and spirit. And spirit is the listener. Spirit is the observer. And a good instructor, an instructor that knows what I'm talking about and can hold a sticker up and say, I can give you this sticker for free, but I can not only tell you what it means by teaching, but I can then instruct you into the sensation of it. Would you be interested? Buy stickers. Don't let biology, that's where I was still on number 4. Don't let biology distract you from the abstraction. The abstraction is knowing that the body engages in core new tension, and that's true for anybody, anywhere, because it's a human body in space. Even if you're out in space where you're weightless, all the more reason to know how to engage your body internally. That's a whole other subject. So to me, I would want to say that I hear a workshop about pelvic floor, and I know that it's all about a grip at the hips. And it's knowing how to establish that grip and developing the ability to control that grip is what getting control of and having control of your core is all about. Maybe they'll let me just sit back and watch if I put tape over my mouth and wear a fake ID. Number 5. So So in the advertising I'm reading for another workshop, it talks about filling the gap in your learning, right? Which is a very valid value to offer. If you're selling something like a workshop, and you're saying that the workshop might be filling, a gap in your learning. It acknowledges that it's a big field, and there's a lot of area to learn in, and filling a gap in your learning appeals to the insecurities that you recognize that there might be gaps, or that there will always be gaps, and so it just so rather than take that too deep and too abstract, I would just want to say that as the professor of my view of Pilates, one view among 10,000, and the promoter of the awareness that core new tension is real and it's biodynamic and it's a means of engaging the body that's done either subconsciously or consciously to make efficient movement through space. The gap, in terms of, okay, what would I offer to the person that's interested in filling a gap in their learning? Right? MMP and core new tension, one or both of them, can fill the gap uniquely in your learning that explains why it is what it is. So I guess I'm talking mostly about, about Pilates. If you're looking to learn about Pilates or fill the gaps of what you don't know about Pilates, then MMP explains why. No other brand of Pilates does that. No other lineage, no other aristocratic claim to fame, especially those sources, because the why explains why to the point where when you know why, as an instructor, it empowers you to make good cues, to give good instructions, to make it meaningful, to make it sensational, to make it fun beyond belief, and developing control towards an ideal expression of something. So when it comes to me trying to sell you on what you have to sell others in what they may have in terms of gaps, what did you say, gaps in their learning? Fill the gap. To fill a gap in your learning. Michael Miller Pilates, MMP, fills a gap uniquely in your learning because it explains why Pilates is what it is. And it's up to you to figure out why that is. And whether you do or not, it doesn't matter, because as a Pilates instructor, all you care about is the points of view that you want to take into your own creative self to be the instructor that you are. So, what's an advantage to MMP? It explains why, and it's a unique advantage in that no other source of authority that exists in the world today will base or tell you that their authority comes from the ideal that exists within Joe's original work. It will be on a direct connection to either knowing Joe or having studied with Joe, as that could ever replace or overshadow Joe's original work for the statement that it makes on its own. So, knowing why, know why. And when you know why, know that knowing why is very rare, and like so many of my students, you like many of my students, you know what you know without having to make a big deal about it, wanting to or needing to, or feeling that it works in your best interest, which is about survival. And don't let biology and all the stuff there is to know about biology, first of all, don't let knowing the stuff that you know overshadow or diminish the importance of the experience being that there is an experience that you're in pursuit of, for one thing. A lot of the 10,000 views of Pilates, wouldn't even admit or say that there's an experience that you're looking for. Right? Especially if you've never heard it talked about or never had the experience itself. And all I'm talking about the experience, I'm not being, it's in the pursuit of the choreography of Joe's mat, right? Or an extension or derivative of that in any form, but in a fluid way that takes one's presence to the moment that you're in order to accomplish the control that you're exhibiting, right? All right. Look out. Right? Look out. What does that mean, and how much does that put you in touch with your senses and force the prefrontal cortex to hook into the amygdala and hippocampal arenas to be more connected to the world that's out there that we're in, right? The physics that we're in. And when the physics is sitting in a Greyhound bus and coming to a bridge that's too low and someone shouts out, "Duck," no other word would have sufficed, unless, of course, there were another language. But in the moment, in the arena, that one word was easily life or death. Because it just took the top of the bus right off. So never underestimate the power of the instruction in just one word, when it's said and how it's said, and the dimension of survival in which the instruction is staged, cast. Okay. So, it's hard for me not to be falling in love with Pilates since I got involved, because it always takes me to the experience that helps me cope with the rest of my life, right? It's conditioning. And the conditioning that happens happens on different levels in different ways, real and surreal, I want to say mystical in there, and very practical, very practical. If I can help you make money by signing you up as a licensed affiliate, let me know. If I can help you make money by sending you stickers and magnets of Cornu, there's no better gift. I have nothing better to offer than that, where you could turn it around and sell those, or for what it would cost you, just give them away for goodwill. It all depends on you. But the opportunity to commercialize, the brand is there, and that's the best way I have to offer you of helping you distinguish yourself when it comes to claiming why. See, and even that, maybe that doesn't even matter, right? Because if you know why, and you know how, then it just boils down to your ability to do what you want to do, which is be a Pilates instructor. And see, for that means not having to be anything else but. No other, gotta incorporate this or gotta incorporate that. Knowing and getting away with the ability to have a relationship wherever you instruct, that you're free to incorporate whatever you want and leave out whatever you don't. Maybe that's too much of a tail wagging the dog, and that's why you have your own studio, right? Okay. And the other thing, I guess, okay, the last thing was about knowing why. And for me, when I look at Facebook and a site that does nothing but advertise workshops and events and Pilates, right? There's the 10,000 things live and in your face and encouraging you to come and attend and fill gaps, right? And have fun and do this and do that and learn that. There's just so much. It's the, as I phrase it, it's the tsunami of Pilates passion expressing itself. Knowing why is part of high ground, right? Knowing what it is. Knowing how to achieve what it is. And then learning how to share that with others, to teach others, that's up to you. And that will be your own creative experience, right? I'm going to be sending out emails leading up to my summer solstice celebration. It happens every year, June 21st, Thursday morning, early, 4-something a.m. And I'll be sending out emails to promote that event. If you don't have an email with me, be sure to send it to me. Okay. All right. Life can't live forever. Presume as much as we do from day to day that we're in that world. We're not yet. Someday, maybe, who knows? Read between the lines. See behind the curtain. Add 2 and 2. Direct your own thinking. Geist.